How are we going to compete with Nigel's voice on this?
Well, I stopped trying. I mean, I ain't melting no panties like he does.
Okay. Yeah.
So
we do have rules on this podcast.
We do have rules.
John, you should know.
Okay.
If you need to burp into the microphone.
Okay.
Because we like to judge the burps.
Oh, man.
Well, really, look. I'm going to say good job, pat you on the back. I'm more like Ted Lasso. I'm nice. He's the judge from East Germany. Okay?
Well, if you want to burp judge, you got to get my 18-year-old daughter in here. She is the queen of burps. So I can't do justice compared to her.
Well, too bad she's not here.
Yeah, I know.
What's our? Well, we have beer, so
We have beer. Say whatever words you want to say. This is not a family show.
Yes.
The only family member that listens sometimes is my son, who himself is almost 18, and so
But
who cares?
He's going on like 7.
Well, he's like 95.
He's an old soul.
He's an older man than I am, and I embrace getting older.
What else can you do?
I don't know.
Beers with Nigel is poured for you by Dire Oil Graphics, promotional products and design. They cover your brand bumper to bumper with graphic design, promo products, and print. See what Dire Oil Graphics can build for you at direoil.com. That's DYEROIL.com.
Welcome to Beers with Nigel. It's a show about beer
And other stuff.
We've got special guests here today. My voice is kind of low today. I don't know what's going on with that. It's weird. Sorry.
Are you dropping it an
I'm not
octave?
even trying to
Are you like? Are you trying to attract the ladies?
All the ladies that listen to this podcast.
Hey, all two of you, we know who you are.
Jeff. So let's welcome to the show. Most people know him as
Mr. Beer Station.
Mr. Beer Station.
Yeah.
I don't think that probably wasn't a Mr. Just Beer Station. John Couture, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
You've been on our hit list for a long time.
Many people's hits it.
Even before Beer Station closed.
That's a different kind of hit list.
The hits keep on coming. So it's a pleasure to have you on, man, and your new venture, Local Liquid KC, which we'll get to talking about that. So thank you, man. We appreciate you doing this. So we talked about it earlier. We kind of go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, real quick. Let's welcome our stealthy guest.
Oh yeah,
who shall remain voiceless and faceless.
and people know Natty from Beer Station as well. He's over there on the pooter, silent but deadly.
Wow,
that pretty much sums Natty up pretty well. Silent, deadly.
Wow, we talk about burp, and now we're shifted to silent but deadly.
So let's get into it. Really, before we even get to the new concept, we talked about this driving over. There was a whole Kansas City beer history with you guys and Beer Station. But even before that, we kind of want to go back. We learned that he used to be a video producer at one point.
I know.
In life. Then he worked at a video store with Natty. so there's so many layers to this. But
was that back in the Be Kind Rewind days?
Oh yeah. We have friends who are like Natty and I started. We were we say we were VHS SRO video.
Yeah.
And then we have other people who are DVD. We're like, oh, you're DVD SRO. Culture style.
Well, let's go back to before it's funny. Our last podcast, shout out to Brown Girls Brew out of New York City. Do you guys have any questions? I'm like, yeah, we got 2 questions. Only 2 questions. And the first question is, well, they're kind of one in the same. Because obviously you have a beer history, because, you've been in it for a while. What were you drinking before you discovered craft beer, and what turned you on? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, I got a good story about this.
That's what we want.
So I remember it was like Michelob. I remember I was watching these friends' house, and they left me. I was like 20, not quite 21, and they left me Michelob Genuine Draft. And I remember I was like, oh, this is better than the
classic beer. Right?
I know. I was like, and then I got Killian's Red.
Oh,
and then I was like, okay, I was like Killian's Red, and I was drinking the hell out of Killian's Red for a while. And then my first craft beer memory is I was hanging out at a place that used to be on 39th Street in Westport with Dan Kiefer, who's my best friend who I started Beer Station with. And this was 1995 in the summer, and we were there and we had our first basically the Boulevard Unfiltered Wheat.
Oh yeah.
And it was the day when OJ was driving on the highway. It's forever burned in my memory that I was like, wow, this is a really interesting, different beer. And I remember just sitting there and like just loving it. And then we're just like the surreal connection of like, oh yeah, and then OJ's driving down the highway. So that's kind of my first real strong memory of craft beer.
It's funny because I think I know exactly where I was when that chase was going on. Because it was in the NBA Finals as well.
Oh yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
I know exactly. I was at 85th.
Was that Utah? I think was it Utah?
Yeah, and maybe the Lakers or someone.
I think, yeah.
And for some reason, I remember that distinctly. I was at my friend's house. Shout out to Linda. She was out of town, so we had a party at her house.
That's what happens.
85th and Warnell. So yeah,
Wow.
I think. Do you remember where you were, Nick? Do you remember that?
I was in college.
Were you?
Yeah.
95. I was working at Channel 5 back then.
We were, I think we also had, we probably were not watching NBA, but, some movie and beer night or something.
Yeah. Nigel, what were you at Channel 5? Because at that point, I'm old enough to have several careers. At that point,
Yes.
I was media relations at UMKC. That's what I started doing. And so I used to send like press releases and everything to all.
I was overnight news photographer. At Channel 5
I'll bet we crossed paths. I'll bet you.
From 92 to 98.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was a
bet you
student
anything.
at Missouri Southern.
You were a young pup. It's fine. It's fine.
That's why I like hanging out with you. I feel so young.
Too bad I look younger than you.
Yeah, well. You've had more time with kids gone.
Fair point. You're going to get yours. They
know.
don't really go away.
Final semester of high school is happening right
They
now.
don't really go
Me too.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I told you. You lie to me. It gets better. They go away.
I never said that.
But that's what you need to do.
I'm going to give a shout out to the beer karma that we got from. I'm trying to think who gave me this.
I don't know. But this is
Put it
really
in the comments because they know who they are. The Devil Made Me Brew It Black IPA.
And on the label, it says some truth. It says doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck.
And it really
6
doesn't.
Gallon Brewing out of Aurora, Colorado. So, we have a thing called beer karma. So, you probably have a lot of beer karma because, we have 2 rules. Rule number 1.
Don't die.
Don't die.
Rule number 2.
Don't be a dick. Because if you're a dick, you ruin your beer karma.
Yep.
So when you give beer, you get beer. So,
I would imagine with your history in beer around here that
Yeah,
you probably have built up a good supply of beer karma.
I remember that we used to always say at Beer Station that we tried to live by good beer karma. And by that, I remember when we were the first new kids on the block, we started to get allocated beers, and other beer places would get so upset with us because we would get some allocation they didn't. But then when other places open up and we get something we used to get, I never cared. I never made a big deal out of it. I was like, look, there's enough beer to go around. I'm never going to be that person who's going to complain and get on people about it. And life's too short with that. So
Absolutely.
I sure hope that's recording.
It's recording.
Okay. Because it's right into the microphone. Yeah. It's just weird, watching it drop off, even though he's still talking. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I didn't see it drop off. This is a good interlude, by the way. We're strong. You can tell that we've been doing this almost 200 episodes.
is there a way you've tested to double check?
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. We don't really prepare for the show. We just show
This
up
is
and
this
see
is
what
of
happens.
the 9 or 10, 12 things that I produce. This is the one that we do the least
His
work.
job is producing that podcast. You would think he'd come in prepared. Nope.
Nah, not for this show. Not for this show. We've got a brand. Our brand is ill-prepared, and, we're doofuses.
The 80s wants that word back. Stop it. Somebody uses
Why
that
can't we
word.
bring the 80s back?
Not that word of all
Not
the
that
words.
word.
No.
So you want us to be rad.
No. So, John, let's talk about you got into craft beer, Killian's, good beer, still old school beer. The whole beer station concept, it was wildly popular, wildly different for Kansas City. From whence did that come out of your brain where you're like, oh, I love beer. I want to open a beer bar. Where'd that come from?
So I had zero experience working in a bar or restaurant ever before I opened. So basically, my best friend Dan that I've mentioned earlier, before our first kids were born, our wives let us go on a trip to Europe, and we basically went around and did quote unquote research tour of Europe. and went to Germany, went to Belgium. And the one thing that really stood out to us was how beer was intermingled with people's just daily lives.
Yeah.
And people could have like, you'd see an old person with a Stein in Germany out with people with a stroller. And it wasn't as stigmatized as it was like, it wasn't just all about like, frat boys getting drunk in the United States. So what we wanted to do is if we ever found a concept that we thought could work, we decided we'd go to business together. He was in advertising for Miller Coors at the time. He worked on the artfully crafted Blue Moon ads.
Okay.
So he had experience with working in the industry. And I kind of had a little bit of the entrepreneurial engine side. So I just did research over the next couple of years and then found out about the what was called the craft beer tasting bar bottle shop concept.
Yeah.
That really started in Portland, Oregon with Belmont Station, which is still around, I believe. And it's that what combines a packaged beer store to go with drafts and food a lot of the time. So it's basically the best of both worlds. You can shop for beer while you drink beer and eat food. And so we were like, okay, this is great. This seems like something could actually work. We researched it. There wasn't anyone in the Midwest doing this. And so we just found that we decided to do it. Unfortunately, it was illegal. There was a city ordinance that we had to work for about a year and to hire lawyers to help us overturn an ordinance. And once we did that, we were like, okay, life is short, and we jumped into it. The one thing I'll say is that I think it did benefit us that neither he or I from the bar or restaurant industry, because we were definitely inexperienced and there's a lot of mistakes we made, but we also knew there were things that we wanted to see as consumers. And we brought people in who had experience, like Natty was someone I knew who knew the industry well and I respected and I could count on to learn from and to trust. And I think that helped us. Like I said, I made lots of mistakes but I think that it was just new and it was fun and we were right at the right time when we opened it.
Yeah, it was one of those things that was our Sunday destination because there was nothing like it. And we would go on Sundays just about every Sunday because you were getting beers that we were like, how are they getting these beers?
Yeah.
What are they doing? What is going on? It's funny because I would sometimes I would buy beer, but I really enjoyed the experience of sitting there and getting a flight of something
Just
I've never seen before.
Trying all those
all
things.
the things, and you guys would do the events, the stouts, and then there would be a firkin,
Firkins, wow.
I remember one, the firkin, where it didn't go so well.
There's more than one of those.
But so you say you came in not from beer and restaurant. So what was that had to be hard to seek out and bring all those in because you weren't an insider.
The funny thing is when we first launched, I believe we were the first people who just basically talked to distributors and said, we're not going to dedicate taps. And that really threw them for a loop. We were like, hey, we want to rotate. And our goal was we would hopefully, if people's beer was good, it would sell.
Yeah.
And we would feature them more. And I could see the gears moving in the distributors' heads. They were like, how, like a robot, like this does not compute. And so we would just basically rotate, and if those beers were selling, we'd keep them on tap more. And then we'd also just try. Our whole goal was just to try new stuff and keep it moving. So that really guided how we did things. And I think we were always looking for. The cool thing is, like, people always wanted the newest, different, most unusual stuff.
Yeah.
And then so we knew that we were kind of the antithesis of the traditional beer market.
How long did it take, do you think, for that to catch on, both with drinkers, but also with the distributors that, we're not going to have a batch of 10 taps that are always going to be this?
Not too long. I think after we got going, because we just said we were like, okay, if you want your beer here, this is how we roll.
Yeah.
And not to be dicks about it, but we were just like, hey, we don't want to dedicate handles. There's all this beer coming out.
Yeah.
People caught on. I mean, people were caught. It got off to a really fast start. And then people they would see their monthly numbers and they'd be like, okay, well, they're selling a lot of our beer. It's like, even though we don't have a dedicated handle, I mean, the good brands that were producing good beers would sell. So it worked. And then they're like, well, I guess this is okay. And we were pretty nice about it, but we really tried to listen and, put their flagships on. So it's not just the craziest, booziest, sour or whatever, so.
Did it go similar with the consumers, with the drinkers? Because I always think about it's hard enough opening a tap room when you get all the people that come in and like, I want my Mick Ultra.
I think about this a lot. And when we first opened, people were really just learning about craft beer in general.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of people who were just like, I've heard about this craft beer thing. And we used to have these $25, $30 bottles at Bomb 750s were huge. Yeah. And people were just like, I guess I got to try that. And people were trying everything and they were just loving it. And they were just, it's like, Americans are pretty adventurous eaters and drinkers generally. So I think they caught on pretty quickly. And I think people started to understand that craft beer wasn't like, okay, if you don't like IPAs, you might like, maybe you like sours, or maybe you like Pilsners, or maybe you like lagers, or maybe, stouts, there's so much out there. So I think people caught on pretty quick.
That's the first time I've heard somebody be positive about Americans are pretty adventurous. I feel like I hear otherwise a lot, or at least you've got to coach them to get there.
Beer-wise, but look at the other countries. We're the ones who have all the most adventurous beer styles.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's a beer-wise, I'd say. I mean, certainly not adventurous people in other ways, but
what was it like? Because the beers were like so varying from all over the place. What was it like to be able to curate that? It's like, that was a terrible burp, by the way.
And I told you so.
Exactly.
It sounded like someone pretending to burp.
Man, I didn't expect you to be as harsh.
I'm just kidding.
Damn.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yes. Pretending to burp. The pretend burp. So
that's my beer. That's my beer name, by the way. The next time I put out a beer.
Yeah.
Pretending to burp.
It's almost like you got this canvas and you get to paint. It seems so exciting to me.
It was, and the thing was, we really took it seriously. We always said we take our beer seriously. We don't take ourselves seriously. That was kind of our unofficial motto. And so we would do everything right. We would clean the lines after even if there was one IPA going on after another. We would always clean our lines, and so that was kind of unusual for a lot of bars.
Yeah.
And it was just like, people loved watching our boards and seeing what's coming next. Mm-hmm. And it was just really fun. It was just kind of like, what do you feel like? And what do you want to put on? And then we didn't have there's no set person, people would just kind of talk, and the bartenders would talk and figure out what to put on. And for the most part, just let people drive, and they did a good job.
It was funny because they used the digital pour system, where, when you check in that beer, you pop up on the board on Instagram, and it was just, it was like being beer famous.
Hashtag beer famous.
Hashtag beer famous in a small way. It was just one of those things that the vibe was great, the beers were great, that thing was great. It was just one of those things that, you think back to Kansas City beer and the growth. Man, that was the boom time. Especially for. Because you think back then, there weren't that many breweries when you guys started.
No, that's the crazy thing. When we first opened, Martin City had just opened.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was the Public House, it was Boulevard, it was Martin City. Yeah. And then, man, there might have been one other, but there was not. Everything started happening about 2 years later after we opened. KC Beer Co. opened a year after.
Yeah.
So
that's a burp.
Show off.
By the way, I still like to give them crap that we put the I back in beer. So I was like, come on, you guys are so full of shit. When they did that, I was like, really? I was like, and then when I saw that, I love those guys. But when they moved in and there was BIER and it was a mile away from us, I was like, this is going to cause us so many. We were so confused so often. It was a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That sounds like transparent and transport.
Yes.
People get totally confused.
Yeah.
I've had people come to...
You know the difference?
What's that?
Missouri and Kansas.
But people is people.
Yeah. You should know Missouri's always better.
I had a group of people at Transparent.
I love you, Transport.
They were waiting on this lady. No, she went to Transport.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
That's a 40
Yeah.
minute.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, whoopsies. Here we are. So...
There's transparent's coming into the Missouri market. I know in the spring.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So yeah.
Transport actually has one of my favorite, the alley part of their tap room.
Oh, that little
side room that's kind of the alley area.
Yes, that building has
that is badass.
Yeah, that building has a weird history. It's probably haunted. I'm gonna guess. I mean,
probably
Sean A's probably haunted, right?
I mean, I figured like that whole area is probably one giant haunted area.
Yeah,
and I don't even believe, but I'll believe for there.
So
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say did because you talk about how it changed and evolved kind of all the time. You were trying to. Did you hit what your vision was, or did your vision just change so much as it grew?
I never wanted to make a restaurant. I was pretty clear about that. And then we were in the middle of a neighborhood, and people just kept asking over. And in the beginning, we just had pretzels and charcuterie.
Yeah.
And it just basically, I just got so sick of people asking over and over and over. And I was like, well, okay, we'll bring in a little bit of food. Then we brought a little bit more. And then pretty soon we were a restaurant. And our staff worked really hard, and we actually had good food.
Oh, yeah.
We had good food. And it's a testament to the people we had who worked for us. But that was it was a little bit. So my friend, Nate Sellergren?
Yeah.
Nate was I was having beers with him the other night. He's like, beer station happened to you. You didn't happen to. It felt like something that happened to me, which I thought was really hilarious and pretty true. He said local liquid, you're trying to make it happen, and beer station just kind of happened to you, and you held on for the ride, kind of thing. So yes, it went incredibly well, and I loved it. And the energy and the people there and the customers were so awesome. It went very, very well. It just was a huge challenge.
I mean,
I feel like that. I'm sorry, I keep.
No, I was going to say. I mean, it was the banners that hung.
Yeah.
One of the best beer bars in the United States.
Yeah.
That was huge, and because again, there was nothing else like it.
Yeah.
For miles.
Yeah.
To your point, up in Portland or that part. Even today, there's not many concepts like that.
I was shocked that more didn't come in. There was the one in Westport. What was it called? Natty, what was the name of the one in Westport that opened up after us? Do you remember? There was one that opened up, and it opened up right in the corner, right down there, that corner intersection where the piano bar is now.
Yeah.
And Bridgers bought it. Do you remember that, Bridgers?
I don't remember that one at all.
It was just like us. And it opened about a year and a half after, and it was just a terrible location.
Yeah.
And I remember going in there, and it was like because they saw me coming in, and and they were like, and I was like, it's cool. I go, good luck. I just want to come have a beer here.
Yeah.
And I wished them luck, and it didn't quite work out. But I was shocked that.
Yeah,
I was expecting him to pop up
I don't
over the
remember
place
that at all because I was hanging out at
yeah.
the station.
It didn't. It was a terrible location.
Yeah. Speaking of location, I mean, where you guys were, man, that was kind of it was right in smack dab in the neighborhood. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of when we go to Pittsburgh every year for a beer fest. There's places like that in neighborhoods where it's just a beer bar in a neighborhood. You're like,
right,
okay.
yeah.
Right next, because the amount of people that I know who live around there, we walk to beer station. I'm like, yeah, you suck.
Yeah. But the thing is,
how was finding that space?
Well, the funny thing is, it was kind of the location of the Damned before us. It was Papakino's Pizza, and then it was. I mean, anybody who lives in the neighborhood knows the history behind that. A history of failed restaurants would last 1 year, and they just sad stories, and people lost everything. And so when we went in there, we'd have people stopping by. We were building out, and they're like, "Good luck, you're gonna need it." And they would say, and this woman came by, and she said she would be happy to come in and do a purification ceremony. so say with the sage, and so the reputation was not great for that location. And I kind of knew that going. I mean, lived in the neighborhood. I knew that.
Yeah.
But it was perfect. It had coolers. It was it's like a mile from my house. I was like. And it was wonderful to be in the neighborhood. I love that.
Parkins was a little sketch. But
yeah.
But look,
I was like,
there are very few places,
extra small parking spaces.
Very few beer places have great parking.
No, these parking spaces were not. They were not.
Yeah, they probably were not legal. But I was always joking though, because Kansas Cityans do not like to walk. So I was joking about installing a people mover for parking 200 feet away, so people feel comfortable walking to us, and they'd park up the street and they'd bitch.
You just need to have rascals for rent.
Yeah, probably so. I should have. All right, Kansas Cityans.
Just get them wrapped with beer station.
Yeah. So how many years did you guys go? What?
Almost 10 years to the day. Like within 2 days of being 10 years exactly. We opened on the 27th and we closed on the 31st. So 2012 to 2022. And then our last day was December 31st. We went out with a bang on New Year's Eve.
Has it been 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's been over 2 years.
Yeah.
I have no concept of time after the pandemic.
COVID.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Got that COVID brain.
Yeah.
I don't know everything's either before or after. That's it.
Yeah. COVID was kind of the final thing, like after COVID. And then when City Barrel approached us, about a year or two during COVID and said if we ever wanted to bow out and do something, that's kind of how we got started with the sales. A year later, I kind of went back to Joe, the City Barrel owner. I was like, hey, that you mentioned about buying this? I was like, I think I'm ready now. And then that's kind of how that started. But, it was so hard for everybody during COVID.
Yeah.
I felt staff were having, hanging on, and it was rough. Rough for everybody.
Had you been thinking about it before COVID, or was COVID the thing that kind of pushed you?
No. I could see the craft beer industry was slipping a little bit. There was an explosion, and you knew it was going to come back down to earth.
Yeah.
I knew that all these people were like, man, craft beer is never going to stop growing. It's going to be. I'm like, no. There's always going cycles. So I saw it starting to thaw probably in 2017. It was really gradual.
Yeah.
And then, the other part was I love all the breweries that popped up, but it was almost like death by a thousand paper cuts.
Yeah.
I would go to other breweries and I'd be like, oh, there's the people who used to hang out at beer stand. And there's people this part of the city.
Yeah.
We lost a lot of our Johnson County customers when they started opening up breweries in the other side of the state line. I didn't see it in Johnson County. So I started seeing something and knowing what the industry was going through. But I don't know. I was really loyal, and I went and didn't want to leave our staff hanging or anything. So
it was, and to your point, I remember when Grains and Taps moved across the tracks, and they had 24 taps. This was before they were doing their own beer.
Yep.
Right.
And we were like, oh, this is kind of like Beer Station, but not as far. And there was some crossover, some of the beers, but the beer people, we want to support everybody. But it did kind of split some of our time because we're like,
yeah.
I want to go there and support them. I don't want to go
both places in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Because working in the industry, I'm like, well, everybody needs the money and the support. So, but we can support both. But you're right; it kind of dilutes it a little bit. So, that was. But
But I feel like the decline has not been as big as people thought it was going to be, right? Like we've talked to people all around the country. I would say not here. Not here. I just here in KC.
Yeah.
We're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's really.
I mean,
there was such explosive growth.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's it's just at some point when you have so many breweries and all this big expansion plans people did, and everybody built a new plant in Nashville.
Yeah.
And I just think that it was just everybody was kind of just like in the stock market crash. Everybody's like, the good times are never gonna. We're just and then people changed. Weed started becoming legal, and so So there's only a certain amount of discretionable income people are willing to spend to get buzz, right?
Well, and because the rules won't let us brew and have weed.
Well, just from experience living in at least on the Floor Farms, the people I see going in there, they're not craft beer drinkers.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
The amount of 60 somethings, I'm like, wow. Now that it's legal, they're all coming out of the woodwork, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Nigel, 60 something's not far.
Okay.
Just want to remind you.
But I was thinking more like white 60 somethings. You know what time it is, Nick? We've kind of gone.
Normally, I would hit the button.
A button
that
so
says
you want
mystery
to hand John the bag since he's our guest.
I will.
So this is the mystery beer bag, as you might imagine. It came from a golf course. There's several in there. You get to reach in there and pull it out.
Oh, nice.
Okay. You can whip it out and you can look at what it is.
Yeah, try not to look at the ABV.
Can I have my beautiful assistant Natty do it to pull it out?
Yeah.
So Natty's not gonna be on camera. He gets to pick. Don't look.
You get to tell us the style, where it's from. Try to avoid the ABV, because we play a game called Guess the ABV.
Oh, okay.
Price is
I
Right
like this
style.
challenge.
Closest without going over wins the rest of the beer.
Now, this is something that I did see in your cooler, so it's a local.
Okay.
But I've worked there, and I don't know the ABV.
Oh.
So pour yourself some.
So should we not look at the beer?
Oh no, he can tell us what it is and what style it is.
Okay. Oh, house beer. Okay. Yeah.
German style pills. Yeah, house beer out of grains and hops.
Yep.
There you go.
I dig this beer. This is one
This
of the.
is a great beer.
Yeah, it's a really good beer. This, as you can see, it's well stocked in our cooler.
Do you know the story behind the name?
It's so good.
Fill me in.
So Brian, one of the owners, Brian Bixby, his in-laws, their last name is House.
Really?
Yeah. And so that was a collab they did with his father-in-law, and they called it house beer.
Nice.
Pretty clever, huh?
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's a really good beer.
And it was not, if I remember correctly, too. It wasn't supposed to be a regular thing,
No,
but
it
it
just
just
became so popular.
got so popular. They're like, oh, we're gonna have to put this on.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that the man kind of drives it. So, but
Okay. Well, cheers.
cheers,
Cheers.
cheers, cheers.
Cheers, Natty.
Cheers, brother man. Oh, he's still working on the last one. That's why he didn't want to come on. He says, "I want to drink the beers. I don't want to be on the damn show."
I just want to sit here and drink beer.
Can't go wrong with that. That's a really good beer.
Well, I think we ought to fast forward a little bit
Hold on,
as we drink.
we haven't guessed the ABV yet.
Well, we can do both at the same time.
Oh, you're okay. Go ahead, Mr. Producer. He's producing on the fly.
I like it when he gets all uppity.
I'm just waiting to see
Bossy.
what you're gonna do. You just never know. This show is not scripted, even though it sounds like it's scripted.
It is not. It is not. While he takes his sips and he thinks about it, I thought we ought to fast forward a little
I gotta
bit.
guess.
And you're ready already? All right.
Okay, he's already ready.
Hey.
What do you? It's Price is Right rules.
Okay.
Closest without going over.
5.2.
5.3.
Oh, it's just like $1. Come on.
I told you, Price is Right.
Natty, what do you think? 5. I'm gonna go 5.6.
Ooh.
Our actual
It's got
retail
one.
ABV.
What is
Natty,
it?
what do we got?
ABV is 4.5.
Oh,
Wow. Okay, so
Oh.
let's
No.
I did wonder a little bit with the house thing. I think it's like a house beer.
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
think about that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all right.
That just means we all have to share the rest of it. It's just not one person gets to chug.
delicious.
If there's anything
If
left.
there's any left. Uh-oh. John's tangled.
All right, it's okay. I got it.
So you were going somewhere.
I was. I kind of wanted to fast forward so you make the sale, you move on, and like, where's your head thinking?
Oh,
I like the
man.
path to getting to local liquid.
It happened kind of fast though. Once we got, because I didn't want to go into the new year, and it was the 10-year, and I think I approached Joe in like August or September, and it was done. I mean, even though it finished, the sale finished in March, that we were done by New Year's. I didn't know what I was going to do, honestly. I think the sale got me a little bit of time to kind of rethink and kind of try to shift gears. And I thought about, we did a lot of political stuff at Beer Station, which people either loved or hated us for. So I thought about doing something.
I was leaving that for the encore round.
Yeah. I'm sure we got some good stories about that one.
Oh, yeah.
But I wasn't quite sure. I thought about doing some stuff in politics. But I also have 2 daughters who are going to college, and that wasn't going to pay for the bills. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, I probably got to do something else. And then
Stupid kids.
I know kids always get in the way. And then, it was just like a few months after we had sold that I just started to miss all these awesome drinks that I used to get at Beer Station, because I get all these great beers from all around town. We put them on tap. And I was like, I was driving all around town to get these, and I was like, well, I know a lot of these folks self-distribute, or they have limited distribution, so some stores carry them and not everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew a lot of these people, and I was like, I wonder if, and then I thought the same thing was true with coffee. Like, I knew the Broadway Cafe people, and I was like, I wonder why nobody ever just does like in Kansas City also, I always joke with everybody, because if there's one thing Kansas City loves, it's Kansas City. That's my favorite saying.
Oh, yeah.
It's weirdly
the
obsessed
memes
with
everybody
it.
wearing the I Love
Yes.
KC gear.
It's almost free. I'm lifelong KCMO resident, and it's almost freaky, but it's true. We always joked also that like you always know where the flight back to Kansas City is,
Right.
because you just look for all the hard.
Oh, yeah.
You look which terminal has the hard.
all the Chiefs gear.
Yeah.
Cardinals
So
gear.
So I put those two together and I was like, well, this would be a brand new concept. Like, what if we could create an online store? I didn't want to do like a regular bottle shop or anything, but like an online store that pulled all and really supported local. And also I was excited to learn more about these different categories beyond. I love beer, but I also love coffee, and I'm open to learning about a lot of these other ones. And I just started going around town talking to people and explaining like, what do you think about this? And they're like, we love that.
Yeah.
This is so cool. And like, we talked about engaging with them in a different way than normal companies. Like a lot of them have issues with shelf sets and like, just being pushed into the dusty, dark corners of stores. And I was like, we have you basically have a digital shelf set. So you could present yourself and sell your products through our store and really be yourself. This is like a store for Kansas City by Kansas Cityans.
Right.
And yeah, every single company that we approached was like, love it. We're on board. What do we need to do? So yeah, we started with 40 plus companies already.
That's great.
As you open the doors, you've got 40 plus in. That's
yeah,
a
and we get
start.
new people every day. I mean, I was telling Nigel, we just had a coffee company from KCK that says they make a Ming chai, and I was like, we don't have chai. That's great. So,
Well,
I like it. I like a good
I'm
chai.
talking to Nolan last night. We had a little holiday party down at Vine Street, and I told him we were coming to talk to you guys. He's like, "Oh, I need to go talk to John." I'm like,
Yeah.
because we're about to do the whole can dropping, and on both sides of the state line. So I think we'll be up in here too. So it's for my money, it's a great concept. We're driving over here, we're like, man, you can. I just go
I can't wait until I can hit the app and you drive me booze to my home at the Summit.
It's like the good old days during COVID.
Oh man,
yeah, no kidding.
we had a
we can at Diametric.
Yeah.
That was a thing that of just magical proportions. It was just
people
it was,
came from
Yeah, that
two
was really
states
cool.
away.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the amount of beer. Not only did it keep my fridge stocked during COVID, but there were things I would never have thought to go get. Mm-hmm. But because it was there, I'm like, oh, I want that. Oh, I
People
want
would
that.
drive through and fill their trunks and back seats
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so
with
great.
craft
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, people come from out of state to do that. It was wild. That
Yeah.
was the wildest shit ever.
Well, I did like about literally 6 months of demographic research to kind of figure out, I wanted to do this right. And I talked to tons of people. We did a survey that like 1,400 people took. And one thing I kept hearing over and over people wanted that we just launched yesterday is we're doing curated mix packs of all different styles and categories and blending categories.
Yeah.
So people love the idea of like, give me a IPA from there, IPA, and just do like an IPA mix pack. And we've got like a stout and like a boozy pack with like a strong from Vine Street.
Yeah.
They're delicious. Oh man, the pizza party is great.
Yeah.
So I think we're really trying to, that's kind of why I call it beer station for your home, because you can try a little bit of everything. And we're trying to kind of present that and get it to people in a new and
flight
different
to
way.
go.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, like Untapped has kind of gotten into that game of doing these things, and when I can get something from New York and from California and everywhere, all in between, I'm into that because that is that variety,
Right.
I don't have to drive around town to go get them all like you were doing. You're like, what the hell? Can we bring this together and just
We all have favorite beers, favorite styles, but to get, I love that concept. To get a case of just a little bit of everything because I want to mix it up.
Casey loves to support local.
Yep.
At
We
100%.
love to support local. That's the thing.
So you're gonna add food delivery?
Oh man, no! Oh my God, my wife would kill me. She's my barometer, and I even brought it up. I was kind of like, well, maybe we could start. She's like, no, don't. She goes, she's right. She's like,
absolutely.
beverages don't get, because that's what happened at beer station. It creeps, and Natty's gonna be laughing because like he knows. I was like, all right, this is not gonna be like beer station, Natty. I swear, we're gonna keep on point, and So I think our biggest thing is to start. People are just still on, since it's a brand new concept.
Yeah.
Natty and I talk about this every day. There's just a lot of confusion. People are just like, they're like, what is this? And the people who showed up wanting to shop, and we're like, I'm sorry. And well, we've let a couple, don't say anything. We've let a couple people shop on the cooler. Be like, okay, but you can't do this. Just, we're not, it's not like a walk-in thing, but it's just also for us. Honestly, I've been very transparent the entire time through this process, because our goal is to be as efficient as possible, because I want to provide a good workplace with living wages for our staff. Yeah. And to do that, you've got to be really efficient and not overstretch. So we're going to try to run this in a very efficient way so we can grow smartly. And I don't want to be, that's the one thing about the restaurant and bar industry. It's really tough to predict and to pay people what they deserve.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to go the opposite way with this, if possible.
Well, let's take a minute and just say Local Liquid what it is. And
I don't know what it is. Can you tell me what it is?
It's like this podcast. We don't know what it is.
All right. So what we've been calling it is we've been calling it an online curated marketplace for local beverages. But the more I think about it, the more I think that just kind of makes people go, huh? And so basically, I think the newer thing we're saying is just like all of your favorite beverages from Kansas City of all types in one place.
Yeah.
Period. And then they're like, coffee? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one place is a website.
And the one place is a website. And right now, so we have a warehouse on 65th Street between Troost and Rock Hill. And we are here noon to 6, Monday through Friday. Place an order anytime and just swing by and then call us. Or we've got a number, or you can ring our doorbell and we'll bring it out. We are going to be unveiling delivery this spring. And we are still working out the details on that because it's tricky with alcohol delivery. We want to do it in a way that doesn't frustrate people, but we need to check ID when we deliver. So coordination takes a lot of planning. But we're trying to get creative, and we're doing some tests in the next week or two by delivering to workplaces that allow it. So we can drop off in one place and like everybody who wants to place an order. It's not just alcohol, coffee, juices. And so what we're trying to do is maybe see if we can do that as like one of the backbones to what we do, and then test out with delivery to homes, but we don't want to do it too fast, and then we want to do it very carefully so we do it right. So ultimately we want a blend of like being able to deliver, but people can still feel like they can pick it up if they don't want to wait for the delivery. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you make your deliveries through the website, and the website for Local Liquid is
localliquid.com.
There we go. I like it. Let's make sure we spell it out for people.
It's bring me your beer to Kansas City right now. Thanks, John and Natty.com.
We might shorten it someday, right? Because
an acronym.
No, it's local. Here's the funny thing is, all right, here's a really funny note about this. I was looking for a name, and I was sitting there, and my 15-year-old, who is a complete smartass, I love her, but she goes, have you asked AI? I was like, God damn it. Okay, and I was like, typed in, I want to build this business, and here's what I want to do, and it's like, Local Liquid. I was like, perfect. I was like, it has to be available. I want to have the URL available.
Yeah.
I had to buy it, but it was available to buy.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it. It took 5 minutes. I was like, look, everybody I talked to was like, Local Liquid's great. I was like,
Yeah. I mean,
so I think AI is going to take Natty and my job. And we're going to be robots next time you come in here.
the little
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly,
I am NATI Natty 5.
if I could have a robot that did everything for me, I'm not going to complain.
Until
The
you don't
robot
take-
doesn't care about the money, so I can still get paid.
I mean, that's supposed to be your kid, but it's not working out very well.
No, it's
But you know the money. The money's never going to get to you with this automation stuff. It doesn't
No.
get to the people. It goes to the corporation.
No, it's gonna go
Here
straight.
comes my beer station tangent. The damn corporations.
God damn it, Elon.
Yeah.
So what lessons did you learn from your beer stations days that you are applying now? Because obviously
This is where you should get Natty in to talk about. I learned lots of lessons. I mean, running a small.
He just said no. By
Yeah,
the way.
I know.
He's over there going,
I totally
nope,
wanna come
I
to
ain't
this
coming on the show.
I mean, honestly, I learned just that I wanted to do something that was simpler and was more forward thinking. And like Nate said, my good friend said, that, it does not happening to me. We're building it.
Yeah.
So it's not like something we've got to try to figure out how to make work. I mean, we want to build it and say, this is how we want to operate. This is how we want to pay people. This is how we want to build the company and be fair to our staff and have a good work atmosphere. And I mean, it's kind of a big question, because I mean, I think we are going to be a little bit more expensive than a package store, but our bet is if we have great products and we work really hard to offer people amazing selection, and they know we are trying to do the right thing with our staff, I'm hopeful that people will be willing to pay a little bit more.
That's huge.
And a lot of our when we did that demographic research, they would interrupt me and go, "Yes, fine."
Yeah.
So that's what they said, and so it's a we'll see if it actually happens.
I mean, and if you're curating something for me as a mix pack, I have no problem paying extra for that, because you've done the work.
And
You've done the work to
Natty
figure it
can
out.
tell you it ain't easy. It's a lot of work for us.
I had some wine. I had a case of wine I needed to go get at Cooper's Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
and I tried to get the girl behind the counter to pick them for me. She was like, hell no. Like, damn it. So
That's like the beer
value
tender
in
who
that.
gets scared when you say dealer's choice. You're like, nope.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll totally do dealer's choice as a beer
Oh,
tender.
But I have run into a
that.
lot of beer tenders who are just like, nope, I'm not doing that.
Oh, I see. I kind of like the idea of a mystery pack, and
Yeah.
that's like what's the high dive? You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah, the machine.
almost like a version of high dive.
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of fun,
Yeah.
especially when you have like breakage, and so
Yeah.
you've got extra.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be fun just to do some like curated mystery packs and see who bit.
That's what, when I go there, and they've got a nice local selection of beers.
Yeah, no, high dive's
But
great.
I generally go and get a mystery beer, and sometimes I win, and sometimes I don't. But you know what? The fun is in the mystery.
Yeah.
Well, when we first walked in and you showed us that he was putting those mix packs together, I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
that's exactly what I want.
yeah.
I want more than one thing. Even at home, which I don't drink a lot at home, but
Oh,
well,
sure. You don't.
I like to share.
Is this like going to the doctor's office? Oh, I drink 2 days a week.
I only
Ask him-
I only drink
The fridge in his studio.
I only drink 12 a day. And the doctor goes, "Oh, so we're going to double every number you give me."
Yeah, basically.
But when I have drinks, I don't want like all stouts or
Yeah.
all IPAs.
Yeah.
I want to kind of mix it up. So I love that idea.
Well, people love the mixed 6-packs. Beer Station was so here's the funny thing. We always got like best bottle shop, even though we didn't have like Lucas Liquor would blow us out of the water for the amount of pack, but
Yeah.
we would always win best bottle shop every year. And because people knew that we took the selection seriously. And that's kind of what we want to emulate here is that we kind of do some of the work for you.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, I think the big challenge is going to come like what happens when there's local products that we aren't too confident in. I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's going to be some hard discussions we're going to have. But I mean, that's going to happen at some point. We're still, I dread that because you want to help everybody out.
Yeah.
But you also want to offer things. You don't want people saying like, why are you selling this? It's not very good.
And let's keep it real. If I go to Lucas Liquor, which I rarely do, there's no vibe in there. I walk into a place where it's like Beer Station or something like that. That's more up my alley of who I am. You know,
Right.
The big places. I think the last time I went to Lucas Liquor, I got so frustrated looking at beer.
Well, and it's
so
not-
much fucking beer.
It's not
it's
Lucas
overload.
anymore, right?
I ended up.
I know.
buying
Yeah, it's
wine.
not. It's Total Wine.
Yeah, it's not.
I ended
Lucas.
up buying wine.
Yeah.
I didn't buy beer.
Well, at some point, it's like when you go to a place that has like 200 taps. It's like, what the hell are you going to do with 200 taps?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go walk
Well,
down that tap line.
unless you're Mike.
Well,
Unless you're Mike
I
from
don't know.
Pittsburgh.
Mike's Beer Bar in Pittsburgh. It's a lot.
Then you just wonder, like, when was that keg last changed? Or when was it put on? I don't know. I think like we were always kind of like 30-ish taps, and that was a good number for us. But yeah, I think that one of the things I think is interesting that we're trying to figure out is that knowing we had such a personal connection with people at Beer Station.
Yeah.
That I think that one thing that we're trying to figure out is we want to personalize this business, but it's an online store. So I mentioned to you guys, we have this kind of tasting room
Yeah.
that we want to turn into basically I was calling it a tasting room, but then it gets people confused and thinks it's like the Beer Station. It's more of like a sample room.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is bring in like on a regular basis, like once a week, 3 different makers from different categories. So you might have a coffee roaster, a distiller, and a brewer, for instance. And people could come in, try some samples from them, and that's the one time we'd be open for on-site sales.
Yeah.
So I do want to emulate some of that personal connection we did at Beer Station, and not on the level we did it then.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find ways to kind of delve back into that, but not go overboard.
But I think it's unique enough that that's something you and I, hey, let's go. They got these 3 makers over there.
Yeah,
Hey,
let's go.
Let's go. For those who want to try, because even the coffee thing, I dig me some good coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to be able to come and try something I haven't tried
Well,
before.
especially if a local distillery is
Yeah.
with them.
Or-
and
or-
they might
yeah,
pour a little love in that
yeah.
coffee.
Or show you how to make a cocktail, certain cocktail and
yeah.
stuff. I mean, we have so many. Can I tell you one of the fun ideas that's popped up when I talk to all these companies that I really want to try? That's kind of crazy, but I really like this idea. I think I talked to Ryan at Rieger about this, and I was like, I've got a crazy idea. Tell me what you think about this. So in Missouri, you can legally drink in the passenger seat, right?
Yes.
We all know that. So my thought was when we get delivery going, we would have a maker produce something really special. and it would be limited supply, and say there's 10 to 20 of them. And so we would put someone from the brewery, one of the producers, in the driver's seat, and the driver would drive around dropping these off, these special delivery things. And then the person from the distiller or wherever could do a little toast with the customer and say, thanks for doing it. And then they could get back in the car and go to the next thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's fucking amazing. He's like,
I love that idea.
He's like, I love that.
Like carpool karaoke, but
a little bit.
carpool drinking.
I think that could be, and this is some of the thing I also felt after.
Get a party bus and just pick me up after you deliver.
I know. Maybe we will have to look into that. But after COVID, I think one of the other things we want to do is I think that the whole scene's become fragmented and people working from home.
Yeah.
And I've talked to enough places that do on premise that it's just not the same. And I think we're looking for ways where we can kind of bridge that gap as more people are working from home.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things we're thinking about. We just like Beer Station, we always love to do crazy shit at Beer Station.
Yeah.
And we want to continue that and just be fun and creative.
Yeah.
I feel like the on-premise, I mean, that's a good way to, like, everybody's looking for real reasons to bring people back, even if it's once a week, once a month, whatever, right? Like, hey, come in for a happy hour. We've got a curated thing of booze and beers coming in. Come in for a little happy hour meeting.
Well, we can't now. Just to be clear, so we can't sell. We have a package license. So Missouri alcohol tobacco, we are not going to have happy hours here.
Yeah.
But
if you deliver the stuff to my office,
there you go.
right?
Yeah,
So
okay.
if I've got an office building,
Like a little part. Oh yeah,
and half my workforce is work from home,
yeah.
hey, we're gonna have a happy hour this month. Come on back.
Well, we definitely are talking about like party packages, and we've talked about virtual tastings with brewers, and they could so you would have everybody would buy a certain like a 12-pack from a brewery, and then you do it over Zoom, things like that. There's lots of things we can do.
We've got a local cocktail bar near where Nigel and I live, and at the start of the pandemic, his idea to keep making money was he would deliver cocktail kits. Mm-hmm. And it was my wife, and I loved it because it was like during the pandemic, it was like, I really would love French 75 right now, and just hop on the phone, and here he'd come delivering the whole kit.
Just one at a time.
Yep.
I mean, but that's kind of the beauty of what COVID did. It kind of opened up ideas for different ways to do different things, and thankfully, some of that stuff is stuck that you can still do. Yeah. Some of those things because if it wasn't for COVID,
Missouri changed its to-go law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was at first temporary, and then the powers got together to lobby to keep it permanent, and I think that was fantastic.
No, so there definitely was some good stuff to come from COVID, and
Kansas changed its rule.
Yeah.
For the food, beer, alcohol ratio.
Although you still can't deliver alcohol in Kansas.
No.
So we're hoping eventually we would like to, ultimately, if this goes well, we'd love to open up a mirror business for Kansas.
Yeah.
We'd have to have a separate license.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's I'm hoping that at some point that'll get changed, but who knows? Kansas. Yeah, I know.
Kansas.
I know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. So are you where you are now? From the beginning, I mean, obviously you've got a bunch of packs in there. You're getting orders. Are you happy with how it's going? I mean, the reception?
Yeah. Well, the only thing is, I think that the main thing we wanted to get is to figure out how the hell to do this and make it work behind the scenes. And I think that I knew with a new concept, it's going to take time for people to figure out. And I also knew that delivery was going to be probably our main driver. So I think that what we're trying to do now is just educate people about where we're at and say, okay, so we're doing this pickup. We will always have pickup, but we are going to be doing delivery, and we're looking for creative ways to do it.
Yeah.
So I think we're really excited, especially Natty and I had a day yesterday where we built all the 6-packs and we put them all the mixed packs. We put them all in the system, and we're like, okay, this is really working, because there's a lot of work that goes into just making all that work.
Yeah.
And I think that now we're just like, okay, now we've got to really figure out how to communicate how this works in our plans with people. Yeah. So that's kind of what my big push is over the next few months.
I dig it. I love it. I think the concept's great. From the beginning, I was like, makes sense to me as a person who, I'd much rather get some local stuff than going through Untapped and getting some stuff, or I'd do both, you know what I'm saying? But I think a lot of people will dig it. And I think getting the message out, to your point, getting people to understand what it is. And I think that's going to be. I think it's going to be good. I think you're going to do great, actually.
Yeah, and I think anybody who experienced, you brought up earlier, anybody who's experienced that, what Together We Can was back during the pandemic is going to have confidence in this, because that was an amazing thing. And I can place an order and then just go pick up all the beer I want.
Maybe we need to change our delivery truck to Together We Van.
Here we
You know what?
I had a dad
You're going to end
joke.
up at a really weird festival.
Hey, can I add one last thing? I just want to say, like, for people listening to this, please send your ideas if you're hearing this. I mean, like, wouldn't it be really cool if they did blank? And then we really do want to try to do some tests with deliveries to workplaces that are open to this. We've already got some people who are biting and are going to do it, but I think it's a different way to think, kind of like Beer Station was. But I think that we want to kind of look for new ways to, get drinks to people in different ways. In addition to home delivery, we think a good outlet where people are always there together that can make it efficient would be through workplaces if they're open. So
Do you have like an area that you deliver to? How far you can go?
I mean, we're still working on I think that we're still working on a minimum for a workplace, and I think that it has to be with the Missouri side, obviously. But I think we're willing to work with people in the big. It's kind of just I think just talk to us about it, especially when we're getting started. But I think we're definitely willing to talk to folks and see what questions they have, and if we could make it work, we will.
I'm just thinking that we could totally get a delivery to the studio.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the fridge, the fridge was looking kind of bare.
Yeah.
I need to restock the studio fridge, but the vault is in a co-working building, so there's
Yeah.
80 small businesses in there.
That's a perfect example. So
And actually, I think we have a social thing coming up next month. So.
Yeah. So this is just so when you mention how I think it's going, it's right now it really is just a key to try to get people to understand it and then help us figure out how to make it work, because it's going to take some figuring out. I think it will, but I think it's just it's a brand new concept.
Yeah.
And it's a new way to think about, people are used to I get my beer here, I get my coffee here, I pick it up at the store, and they I love to support local, but I can get it all in one place at one time. They just don't think so. I think that we're trying to
that appeals to me. I don't understand people who go to multiple grocery stores.
Yeah.
No. One
It's
place.
not like they're resistant. They're just used to it.
Yeah.
They're just used to it.
Normal. Yeah.
I don't like multiple stops. I'm a big fan of the one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big fan of
A mystery beer?
the next mystery beer.
Oh my gosh.
John, you want to pull it, or you want Natty to do
Oh,
it?
I think Natty's doing a great job.
Okay.
And plus I've somehow wrapped my headphone
Twice,
around.
by
I don't
the
know
way.
How the hell this happened? I feel like oh my god.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to work at that afterward.
Did I didn't even spin my chair around. I don't know
It's
that.
up under the wheel and over
that's pretty
through
good.
the woods to grandmother's house.
I feel like I'm becoming like a grandpa over because it's making me sit more hunched. I seriously don't know how I did this. Thank you. Is this an ABV guess again? Are we doing the ABV guess?
we always
Yeah,
do the
we
ABV.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always.
Huh? Interesting look on this one.
I know this one is from Nothing's Left in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Shout out to my
You Oklahomans.
yeah. Did you get some? Yep. All right. What is it?
White chocolate macadamia nut white stout.
Wow.
Ooh.
A white chocolate macadamia nut.
The
stout.
nose on that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That is not what I expected just looking at it.
It's kind of murky. He's like, whoa. Man, that's like some. That's like some wort. It tastes like to me like some wort.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused. It's not what I expected looking at it.
No.
All right, here, hang on. I'm gonna unplug your headphone, then you can
Oh.
you can practice you can practice your pull-out game.
Thank you. My pull-out method.
That's what we do on this podcast. A lot of pull-outs. Pull-ups and pull-outs.
Well, I grew up Catholic, so there's a lot of that. Kidding. Okay.
I tell people I'm New Orleans Catholic.
Seriously, that is wrapped like 3 times
I
around
don't
the chair.
know.
How did that do that?
I don't know how you did that. That's pretty impressive.
I think it'd be hard for me to
I think it's because you move a lot.
So I just turned.
You've enjoyed the roller wheels.
I'm just going to take this off.
Strategic pauser. What'd you do? Did you stop recording?
It stopped recording. So we'll figure it out.
This is so crazy. I have no idea
How long has it been stopped recording?
I had no idea, sir. You'll find out when you do the post.
So it recorded for like 3 minutes and then it cut off.
I think it's longer than that, but
Look, we had a video one time where Nigel's phone quit in the middle,
Oh my gosh.
and so I just put some random images in there for his head.
if I'm not mistaken, those cameras after
That one's
they do-
supposed to have continuous,
well,
but maybe not what I thought.
they're not great for what we do. If I'd have brought my phone, my thing, it'd have been better.
It'll be like, hey, John, tell us about your new thing. Cut.
I mean, I have my phone. I could have done that. I could have just put it on.
He just did it again.
I know. I'm gonna move this up.
All right, I'm putting this whole thing up on the.
First time on a podcast. It's fine.
It's his first time with a roller chair. Apparently.
Oh, man.
All right, what are we guessing on this?
What do we?
It's an interesting beer. I don't think I'd drink a whole can of this.
No, this is definitely a shareable.
Not much carbonation.
It's
very
yeah.
flat. It's very sweet.
Well, and it's almost like the caramel is separate from the rest of it.
Yeah.
You could probably make a great, I don't know, sauce out of it. I don't know.
It does taste very caramel sauce,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
but it feels light. Like I just can't be very high.
I'm gonna go 5.7.
I'm going to say a little higher. I think about 6.5.
I'm gonna go 5.5.
7.5.
I thought it was higher. Yeah.
You're going 7.5?
Oh, okay.
I'm probably wrong. This just felt light.
Actual retail ABV.
8.
Whoa.
Oh,
No
wow.
way.
It tastes a little bit. I mean, it's got a little
Yeah.
bit of.
With that, I guess with that sweetness, it kind of.
Yeah, I kind of
Masks.
Yeah.
You went 7.5. Well, you get
Yeah.
the rest of the can.
All yours.
You're a wiener.
Oh my God. I thought I had the dad jokes in here today. That's a granddad joke. That's not even a.
But he is a granddad.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. All
right.
right. Do you have a granddad name they call? Are you like? are you like
No. It's just grandpa.
Okay.
Just grandpa.
Well, old school.
Yeah, I don't have
I
it.
don't like the weird names.
You know.
When did the weird names
Yeah,
happen?
I don't know.
Like,
They
just-
did-
what's wrong with grandma and grandpa?
yeah, I don't know. I think it seems like in the last like 20 or 30 years they really started.
My mother-in-law is Meemaw.
I was.
Yeah.
And the meatballs out there.
And the
Mine
first
is
time
Mimi.
the first time I heard that, I was like, "What?
yeah.
What the hell is that?"
My dad was Peepaw, which I think sounds really weird.
That sounds inappropriate.
I know.
That sounds
Don't
like
say that around 5-0.
yeah. That's the grandpa who's had a few court orders.
Yeah, that's right.
Peepaw.
Sit on Peepaw's lap.
Oh, good Lord.
My son decided it was time to change his grandmother's name, and so instead of Meemaw now it's Meemam, which I thought was funny.
Wow.
Meemam, because he wanted to be formal.
That's so your son.
I was thinking if I actually ever become a grandpa, I want to be something. I'm going to call myself Commodore. Have him call me Commodore. It's like I want like a full-on crazy name, like Commodore.
The cap,
So people would be like, "What?"
the captain,
Yeah,
the Commodore.
Where the captain's at?
I'd go admiral
call it
because I want
Admiral.
Yeah.
So you want the thing.
Oh yeah.
You gotta get a whole situation suit.
want a full uniform.
Is it
pageantry.
like the t-shirt tuxedo? Is it the t-shirt version?
Yes.
It's actually not the real stuff, but it's just painted on.
Oh, I
Painted.
think,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you got to sew those on if
Yes.
you're going to go captain.
clothespin or safety pin? That's the name.
Safety pin.
Safety pins.
I think clothespin works as well.
Well, if you're David Muir,
Hey, before we go, can I tell you guys? I don't know how much time we have, but can I tell you my
we don't time things.
one of my favorite beer
That was a
station
terrible
stories?
word, by the way.
I know.
Go for it.
This is one of my favorite beer station stories. So early on, we had this. I think Natty might remember. We had a lot of our keg drivers or delivery drivers were really colorful people. I always enjoyed talking to them. A lot of them were like, very blue collar and just be like, just say it like it is. And there was this one guy who'd come in, and every time he'd come in, he would go, I'd say, "Hey, how's it going?" He's like, "Living the dream." And he'd be like that. And so one time it was hot, and he's like, and he puts his arm on a box of like stack of beer, and he's like, "I got to tell you something." He's like, "I got your $1 million idea right here." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I'm going to tell it to you." And I was like, "Is this guy pulling my chain or is he really?" And I was like, okay. He's like, so what? He goes, so what I was going to tell you is, and he actually did the look around to make sure there's nobody. And it was totally dead. Nobody during the day.
Am I clear?
Yeah, and I was like, and he's like, we had the upstairs beer garden at Beer Station. People remember that with the glass doors and everything. He's like, so you got that upstairs beer garden. It gets hot during the summer here, hot. And he's like, what you got to do is put a fucking shower up there so people could come in and they take a nice cold shower and they come down and they're ready to drink some beer. And I was sat there and I was like waiting, be like, I'm just shitting you. He's like, he was not. I was like, really? He's like, oh yeah, this place in the Ozarks did that. I was like, it's in the Ozarks.
Well, that makes sense.
At the lake. I'm sure there's a lake place. And he's like, dude, I'm telling you. He's like, I'm telling you. He's like, swear to God, I'm telling you that just you would make so much money. And I was like, are you going to be telling people off when they come out? Is that the?
Yeah, I'm just getting the visual of that.
I know.
As Nick comes down the stairs from his shower in like some sort of
with his captain's outfit.
Yeah, with his captain's robe.
Admiral.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. And you're right. It would be a robe. And also music playing and a wind machine.
Some
for
yacht
my
rock,
hair.
some
Oh,
yacht
yeah.
rock.
You'd have a soundtrack.
Yeah.
The walk-up music.
Yeah.
You know, Neil Diamond.
Which song?
There you go.
Love on the Rocks.
Oh my God.
Coming to America. Come on.
Oh, there you go.
Come on. That's a good entrance right there.
Yeah.
Of all the Neil Diamond songs.
They're all good. There is no bad Neil Diamond song.
That one's
Fight me.
okay.
Like,
I'll give you that.
people want to give him shit. Everybody sings along.
Oh, everybody sings.
Everybody
I don't
sings
give a
along.
shit. I don't give a shit.
Top five, sorry.
And they sing along with a smile.
Uh-huh.
I don't care who you are.
Fair point. Everybody knows the words. Unfortunately.
To all of them.
Var.
Traveling far. You didn't know this was a musical podcast, did you?
I did not. I'm very interested to see what happens next.
No, you're not.
We didn't introduce you to Lee Summit's own Black Neil Diamond.
The Black
you don't know
Diamond.
who he is.
What? I'm very call me intrigued.
Oh yeah, 30 years of tribute.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
His name is Theron Denson, and he does shows around the city and around the
Natty,
country.
we're going. Natty, we're
And,
going.
I mean, if you put him out here, and you like for everybody order and come pick up day.
Oh yeah.
I'm just
He
saying.
sounds just like Neil Diamond.
Wow.
It's wild.
See, if I had my other board, I'd actually hit a button and
Does,
you could hear
does
it.
he have regular gigs around town?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He's actually doing Pink Elephant here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I saw that.
Downtown Lee Summit. Yeah. He's really
Oh,
he's
man.
really good.
This sounds like a lot of fun.
It's I mean
The whole show is good.
yeah, I mean people
He plays it up. He comes in the sequined shirt.
Oh yeah. It's so crazy. He had an experience where he was in some city and Neil Diamond sent his band to back him up.
no.
Can't make this up.
He was on Fallon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not
no
Fallon.
idea.
Kimmel.
Kimmel, yeah.
He was on Kimmel.
Yeah.
And he's had a phone call from Neil.
Oh yeah.
That's
Neil has
amazing.
sent. Neil asked on the phone. Neil asked him because he said, "I have almost all your albums." Neil asked, "Well, which ones are you missing?" And he told him, and like the next week, all those albums came to the door.
Signed. Yeah. It's a wild.
Doesn't he have like Neil Diamond's jacket?
He's got Neil Diamond a lot of
And
things.
he's met like
Wow.
every singer that you've ever heard of.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that sounds amazing. I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm totally
look
going to
him
go.
up.
Yeah.
Black-
Oh, yeah. No, you
Black
kidding?
Diamond. He's really great.
He once lived with one of the Pointer Sisters.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's we can't make this up.
No, his life
It's on
story.
its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just enraptured and I've got to go see this. now.
Enraptured. That's a good word.
Well, my mom was an English teacher, so there you go.
Well, I love big words, and I cannot lie.
Oh my
The
god! Wow.
Can't deny.
All right, we're cutting Nigel off.
Just getting started.
Well, John, it's been a pleasure. It's been a long time coming because, like
Yeah.
I said, you've been on our hit list for forever. So we appreciate you coming on. You got to tell the people again where they can find Local Liquid KC.
At localliquid.com and just seriously, just message us if you have any questions or anything or ideas, or if you have a company that would love to like get deliveries. And thank you guys for all you do for the beer community. I mean, I think it's more important now than ever to kind of keep people plugged in because there's so much different stuff to drink now, and it's important. I mean, I still love the craft beer community. It's still my favorite folks. So
Same.
I just want to say props to you guys for doing that. It's very much needed and appreciated.
And go check out the Local Liquid KC Instagram. There's some fun stuff.
That
on
was
there.
gonna be my next question. Like, where are the
they're on
socials?
Instagrams. Yeah.
Yeah. We're on the socials, and we're going to be doing some fun stuff coming up. We're just, like I said, we just opened 3 weeks ago, so we're just getting started, figuring things out.
We're glad to be part of the story where we can put it out there, because the fun thing is, unbeknownst, kind of unintentionally, people actually do listen to us.
I mean, I think we might be up to 5 listeners.
Yeah.
You what?
We might be up to 5 listeners
Oh,
as we near 200 episodes.
Yeah.
so us and who else?
His son.
Is
His son.
My son. Yeah. Okay. So we're at 3. Damn it.
So Nick, where can they find us, sir?
If you want to watch the video, which I don't know why you'd want to look at us, but if you want to see the video or listen on...
Way to pump everybody up, Nick.
Well, I mean, look, have you seen me? Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Face for radio.
Not even that. They put me in print.
Face for newspaper. Yes, he was a newspaper guy.
He was a TV
I
hack.
was a TV guy. Whatever. Hack. Without,
You did a great job of reading our news on the
without
air.
television, you were radio.
Without us, you had dead air.
Wow.
See, this is there.
And now neither is relevant.
Watch Beers with Nigel on the YouTube or listen on any of your favorite podcast apps, including Apple or Spotify and all those others. There's a ton of other apps out there. Nigel, you take care of the socials.
Facebooks,
Instagrams.
Instagrams. Actually, like we talked about, Instagram seems to be the way to go these days.
Yeah.
Even though they're kind of one and the same, they're not. People love the Instas. It's weird, but
Yeah. They like those little videos.
they do. It's all about the stories and the reels, apparently.
There you go.
And the talk ticks, like I like to drive my daughters crazy. No, I say that, I joke. I joke. I was like, it's TikTok, Dad. I'm like, come on. Oh, the talk
I
ticks.
go with Tiki Takis.
Oh my God, tiki talk.
Yeah, we haven't.
That bothers
not-
my son.
Yeah.
we haven't ventured into the TikTok world. We're like,
Well, you've only got 10 days left?
They're gonna do.
And then the ban.
well, so
But I guess it doesn't actually
it's
go
really-
away.
it's
But I
really
guess it
go
doesn't
away.
actually
They
go
just don't
away.
update it.
It'll never be updated.
and you can't get it on the store, so you can't be a new person.
Yeah.
But you can still use it if you're out there. It just won't be supported. So here we are.
Whatever.
We're going back to MySpace.
Oh my God! Wow.
Somebody bring
Is it
MySpace back.
GeoCities?
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Google Plus will make a return.
There you go. Oh yeah.
All right, good night, everybody.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, fellas.
You've been listening to Beers with Nigel, a show about beer and other stuff, hosted by Nigel Woodbury and that other guy, Nick Parker. Beers with Nigel is poured for you by Dire Oil Graphics, providing bumper-to-bumper graphic design, promo products, and print services. Find them at direoil.com. Beers with Nigel is a proud member of the Fredcast Network and is available on all of your favorite podcast flavors. Find Beers with Nigel on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and ask Alexa to play the Beers with Nigel podcast.